Welcome back on the program. In recent years, the country has witnessed several tragic incidents where building under construction or newly completed structures suddenly give way, raising serious concerns about compliance with building standards, supervision, and quality of materials used. With the continuous increase in prices of cement, steel, and other essential construction inputs, many developers and contractors are under intense financial pressure. Unfortunately, this sometimes leads to the temptation of cutting corners, using substandard materials, reducing structural specifications, or bypassing professional oversight. But how can we maintain standard in building as well as professionalism? Join us for this conversation is the chairman, Deal Clinchers Home Limited, Dr. Adeyemi Adeniyi. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's such a great honor to be
TVC
here.
Breakfast Saturday.
Good morning.
Looking at the name, Deal Clinchers, how many deals, on the lighter note, how many deals have you sealed?
In the last 18 years of practice, I can say confidently, locally and internationally, God has enabled me to clinch as many deals as possible in different currencies.
That's very diplomatic.
Amen.
Yeah. I was expecting to hear I've done 150 deals or I've done 3,000 deals or things like that.
Okay, maybe I should be more diplomatic again.
Okay, let's get back to the subject of discussion this morning. According to data from 2020 to about 2022, about 84 persons in Lagos lost their life due to this issue of building collapse. Are you worried about this development? You had in the intro where we see a lot of people using substandard materials to build.
To a very large extent, this is a great concern. Not just to the government, but also is an indictment on us as estate developers, even in Nigeria. I have the honor of being the chairman of the Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, Ogun Chapter. And we talk at the level of chairmanship across different states and also at the national level. And so we look for ways with which we can reduce the rate, even if not take it out completely. As the government is making efforts now, so also we also are trying to collaborate with the government to see how we can minimize this. Because one bad thing is this: when a medical doctor makes a mistake and inject the wrong injection on an individual, it can only affect one person. But just an error from one builder or a developer can destroy 100 people at the same time. So we are the builder of the nation, not just with mouth, but we are architects that are the custodian of keeping people's lives. And so what do? Is actually to see the possibility of how we can regulate this industry alongside with the government as we work with them to ensure that people who are building are not just building, but they are parts of the body where we can tell ourselves the truth and say, you know what, when you are building, government has put a lot of measures in place, but many of us cut those measures away. Like when you are building, there are stages of certification. Before you move from one stage to another, there are things to do, and they must certify you okay before you move to the next stage. We pay for these things even before we move to site, but a lot of people don't abide by those rules. Now, what do we do right now? Even in our site, on many of our project sites, like the case of the latest building collapse that happened. You see what happened? It's a question of, in the first place, Abu Dhabi is a place where you either have it waterlogged or sand-filled. So it means that if you see the video well, you will see that a ground floor already turned into an underground floor. It means that the building has been sinking over time. It means that the soil was loosed, meaning that there should have been like a soil test done that will have given a recommendation of the kind of foundation that should have been done. But if that was done, I am sure that may have been avoided.
It's like being penny wise, pound foolish. Don't you think so? You start a building and you cut corners.
Yes,
You do use substandard materials and so on and so forth, and the building gets to a particular level and it collapses. You're going to start the building all over again. What is regulation? What is the state of regulation in the real estate sector? Because it looks as if it is very weak. Am I correct?
Correct, sir. I can say that, for example, before you build, for example, one of the measures that the government have put in place is you must have a certified engineer, certified by COREN, that's the Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, and the Nigerian Institute of Building. They must have gotten the license of a certified engineer on any project that will be done. And so that in that case, if anything happens, they can seize or investigate by first seizing the license of the builder before any other thing. So on the path of government, like the stage of the state certification, like I did mention, I mean, on our own part as a company, like one of the projects that we did some times ago, we call it the Amazing Grace Courts in Omole Estate. For every of the stages, even when we don't see the body that should come and certify us, we go there to their office, bring them to the site, let them come certify, because in all honesty, government is trying. But the numbers of buildings that are rising on a daily basis is on the yes.
I would say that government is overwhelmed. I thought your organization, your association, you're chairman of REDAN, right?
Yes, sir.
I thought REDAN also does this oversight function.
Correct.
I thought COREN also does this oversight function.
Correct, sir.
And there should be an arm of government that also does the oversight function. So we have like 3 bodies doing oversight functions. Yes.
Correct, sir.
Buildings are springing up everywhere, not just in Lagos, everywhere in Nigeria. Is it that Nigerians are building faster than these 3 bodies can regulate?
Now, the thing is, we look at the subject of how many houses are we producing versus how many people need those houses. So we are overwhelmed by the numbers, the population in itself, versus the number of houses that are being produced versus the numbers of people that are to checkmate the excesses that is happening. Now, for example, how do you explain this? That you got an approval to do 3 floors and you are doing 5 floors.
Okay.
So how do you check it? Except the regulators walk into that site and request for the building permits to be able to determine number of floors being done. You can't get it. Nobody can know it except you want to be sincere and save the lives of the people. And now, in areas where they say you can, for example, if we're going into any partnership agreement, e.g., because one of the things that we are known for at Deal Clinchers is we build 15-20 minutes to the international airport of any city. Now, and secondly is the fact that we are very known for joint venture partnerships. So before we go into any joint venture partnerships, we go with some of the officials of the state government to go and see around, go with their master plan, go with all of the things that are needed according to their standard to check the boxes to know, can we go this number of floors in this area? Because government is well planned. It is people that try to evade the rules of the game.
I love the fact that you've been blaming the people. But I would like to comment from this angle about the role of the government. We have officials who are to monitor sites and ensure that things get better to save lives and property. Are you saying that some of these officials are not allegedly corrupt to cut corners with some of these people building? I have cases, I have experiences, I have experienced some people on some sites that who allege that these people came and they kept extorting us to cut corners.
I agree with
Looking at the housing deficit that we have in the country, Nigeria, today is about 14. Some sources put about 22 million units. Housing deficit that we have in the country due to urbanization, growth and development. So how can we address all these challenges?
Now, to a very large extent, you'll be very right to say we have some corrupt official, but we can't use a general blanket to say it's a corrupt system. No, we still have people. Let's give an example. Let's be very sincere with ourselves. You are coming to my site, sent by the government to come and see what we're doing, and I already want to cut some corners, and so I'm bringing you closer to try to cover up some things and all of that. I should look by myself that at the end of the day, who owns the building? I should be the one to say, even if you want to cut corners. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, while I was in Abuja, and I introduced a particular structure in the midst of what was approved, and just that small structure was meant to cater for the gym, which was not part of the original plan. Right? I came to Lagos. By the time I got back, it's been marked, and so I was told that this is the phone number of the person working with the government, that she requested that I should come see her. And I went to see her, and I said, "Ma, you know what? Thank you so much for coming and all of that." And of course, like quote and unquote the Nigerian way, which I don't believe in, right? And yeah, I just said, "For coming, we'll give you X or Y amount. Thank you so much for showing up for your fuel. But you know something, ma? I'm going back to that site to go and destroy or demolish that building that you came to mark." She said, "Why?" "Well, we can talk." I said, "No, ma. There is another child that will be born like an Erufai that can come and sanitize the system when I'm no longer here." And I went to move down the building. It is very scarce, because the truth is this: at some point, a king that does not know Joseph will come.
And that is just one out of many cases that we have.
Okay, so
we want to cut corners.
Yes, I agree. But I think this should be an awakening call for us as developers. But the question is this: how many professionals do you have in the midst of the so-called developers? Now, and how many developers are willing to engage professionals? In the first place, there's what we call SITs, structural integrity test. Like the building that collapses will be giving you signs. A body that wants to break down, you'll be seeing signs.
Everything.
And we ignore it. So the question is this: once you begin to see signs, once you see, let's tell ourselves the truth for the first time.
You have to be practical this morning, especially those who are watching us. What are these signs?
Okay.
Because some people will feel that maybe it's just natural.
No. For example, if you are going to break down with malaria, you begin to see signs like your tongue getting bitter, and you begin to have pains, some body pains. If for some people, in some cases, some people begin to vomit and all of that. It's the same thing about buildings. If you see, there is what we call concrete cancer in a building. That's when you begin to see some spalling. That means that the steel is already getting decayed or rusting, and it begins to breathe out, and it begins to affect the concrete, and it begins to. So you just see something fell off the roof, something fall off the wall. These are early signs. Now, the moment you begin to see these things, it's telling you that beware, something is going on. Now, if you look at a building that collapsed, that recent building, even the one that collapsed some times ago in Ikoyi on Gerrard, now you see that the night before the collapse, they had a sound like bah. And so what do you do as a developer when you see these signs, when you see these things? Even in private houses that people are living, these things, we ignore it. Now, you are living in a house, it's releasing water from the wall. Over time, it's making the building to be weak. That is the time. I mean, I went to see a building.
So these are the signs people should watch out.
These are the signs you should watch out for.
Water coming out from the wall?
No, not only water. Now, for water coming out of the wall, that is in some areas where you have them as waterlogged areas.
Okay.
Now, you begin to see water.
The wrong foundation.
In the wrong foundation is what? Yes.
Was used, huh?
You understand? Now, when you begin to see concrete cancer, that is falling off, concrete falling off on the sides of the wall, you begin to see a ground floor turning to an underground floor. It's sinking already. These are signs many of us ignore. When you begin to see things like, you see a part of the building. Okay, they took me somewhere and I saw two buildings, and in the middle, it has caved in. It's already forming a V.
Yeah, they are touching.
Yeah, they are touching each other. And you are a tenant. You want to pay for that kind of a house. Now, people take us to places, come and do joint venture on this. And I ask them, why do you want us to demolish this beautiful building? And they are saying, no, we are just tired of it. But the moment I move around that building, go to the environment, I go as far as maybe like a 1 meter, 2 meters away. And I begin to see how buildings are undulating and giving way and saluting God. Then there's something to watch out.
What about cracks on buildings?
It's part of it now.
Okay, that's where I'm now going. Don't you think there should be a policy, especially in Lagos State? We've been having this issue of building collapse, and it has become a recurring decimal, especially in Lagos, that we start doing integrity tests for all buildings in Lagos State.
Okay, so it is part of what the government does also when construction is ongoing.
No, I'm even talking about old buildings.
Buildings that, sir, to be realistic, it is not achievable, except the policy says owners of the buildings should carry these out. But for government to move from one building to the other, it's overwhelming. Talk about the population. Talk about the staffing. Talk about the equipment needed or required to be able to do all of this.
I understand what you're saying, because the houses are just too much. In Lagos alone, we have more than 4 or 5 million of those houses, and for government to go visit them one after the other. However, government has the documents of these buildings. Correct. All right. There could be a policy that says every 5 years there should be integrity tests, and the landlord of that building takes the liability. But that's not what I want to ask. There are so many sharp practices happening in the building sector, both from the people that own the buildings and the people that are doing the buildings like you. There are so many sharp practices.
I agree, sir.
There was this very unfortunate one where an overhead tank, collapsed and killed a girl that was relaxing in her bedroom. So you got to a point where your bedroom is a dangerous place to be. So where is that good place that you can go and relax? My worry is that REDAN, current, and the federal government, or the government, let me not say federal, because state governments also have that responsibility, are not doing enough oversight. Number 2, what are the disciplinary measures by law to builders and to owners of buildings where these stories emanate from?
Okay, the moment a building collapses, the land automatically, you can't move near it.
Yeah, it belongs to?
It belongs to the government. Because this is it.
Please say that again. Our viewers really have to understand this.
The moment a building collapses, you can't move close to it.
Is there in the law?
Yes.
How many Nigerians read law?
But the question is this. As many places as you see collapses of buildings, go and find out. Is it the owner that rebuilds a structure on it? No. But what about cases where you now see cracks on the wall and you quickly report to the government, and the government comes, you have saved not just your life, but you have saved lives. Now, so it's important more for people to cooperate with the government and let us report ourselves in cases like this. Even if you don't want to, normally, by the time you start seeing those cracks and you need to carry out a structural integrity test, the right thing to do is to evacuate everyone in the building and let there be enough scaffolds on the wall, let there be props to start looking at what the structural integrity test says. I'll give you an example. Somebody took me to see a house in Ikoyi just about 2 weeks ago, and a complete place was actually abandoned as part of the house because there was water everywhere on the ground floor. And so I told the person, I said, should I tell you the bitter truth? That's why you brought me. The person said yes. I said,
this building is gone.
This building is gone.
Everything.
And the person said, no, I will agree. I will agree. There must be.
Yeah, maybe the fear of cost of building materials is also something we need to also talk about.
Okay.
When you look at the price of cement, it has increased in just less than a month now. I know what they're selling at the moment. I know what we're buying last month. So how do you address this challenge?
Okay, so that is where REDAN comes in as a body. Now we're trying to bring as many developers together to have a sit down under the same roof. For example, REDAN in Ogun State, we're trying to come up with a program with all the producers of these materials. Because we looked at it, virtually all the finishing materials and building materials, most of them have their head offices in Ogun State. You talk about cement, you talk about roofing sheet, you talk about sanitary wares, you talk about steel. In fact, I visited a steel company in Ogijo, in Ogun State. I was shocked, sirs, having close to about 10,000 workers in Ogun State. And it took me about 3 hours plus to have a tour around the factory. They produce from the beginning
Producing
to the
standard
end.
materials?
Standard materials, yes.
Because we need to emphasize on that.
Yes, standard materials. And my engineer told me, he said, my engineer that accompanied me there, told me, he said, I've been pursuing these guys. I've been on queue for 3 years to buy materials from them. That is to tell you the demand is huge. And yet they are producing day and night. So REDAN comes in to do what? To see the possibility of how to synergize with these people. If we're coming as a body, what rebate can we get? The truth is this, there are issues. Because if we don't produce these things in enough quantities, how do we meet with the demand?
How do you get investors to invest? Like what you just told us now about the steel factory. If we had such facilities in every state of Nigeria, it definitely will affect the price.
Honestly, sir.
You know, so how do we get investors interested in things like this? Have we started thinking about that direction?
Thank you so much, sir. Now, for as many investors who are watching this interview, now it is to let everyone know that there is a lot of opportunities in the real estate sector that are staring people in the face. Sometimes we book materials and it takes us, regardless of the price. And you know, many of these price increases, sometimes they're artificially determined by people who are selling them because we have more demand than the supply.
I mean, it's simple economics.
So people will just wake up. Sometimes at some point, we were buying materials, we're getting 2 prices in one day. You get a price before 12 noon, you get another price after 12 noon. So you choose which market you want to go. I'm telling you,
it's quite worrisome.
So there is opportunity for us. So I tell my friends overseas, I tell them, guys, if we don't build this nation, if all of us run away, then we will build it. You don't have to do all of this. Come home, let's fix it together.
Is that why you guys are using that opportunity to also tax Nigerians? The cost of rent is crazy. Nigerians will not forgive us if I didn't ask this particular question. Landlords increasing every year, every 6 months.
Okay.
Where do we go from here? How do we address this?
As much as I'm not in support of that, sirs, but I must be very sincere with you that the same market that a billionaire goes is almost the same market that every other person will go when it comes to some certain commodities. You know, there's no rich man in the bathroom. You use slippers.
I like that one. And I'll use it somewhere.
So the question is this. When we go to that market and you tell a multi-billionaire that the price has changed, he doesn't have any issue with it. And an average Nigerian goes to the same market.
Even the slippers depends on the quality of what you're wearing.
So at the end of the day, so you begin to look at it. Okay, the guys we're buying land from to build, you get there and they tell you, chairman, price has changed though. And you are saying, is it import? Do you now import your land? Or what exactly has changed the price? You say, when we buy, we sell to you, where we get the money, we go to the same market, we send our children to schools, like the way you send your children to school. And the same way, the prices of school fees that has changed is also affecting them.
One thing I believe all of us on this table agree on is that there are major problems in the real estate sector that have not been addressed the way they should be addressed. If not, there wouldn't have been problems, there would have been solutions by now. You know, holistically, are we going to get it right? Are we going to get it right soon?
Yes, I believe. You know why? Because every developing nation has got its own problem. And that's where expertise comes in. That's where professionalism comes in. That's where we have opportunities for those who, I told someone in the UK, and I said, you know what? You drive a train here. We're looking for people who can train many of our people because we're just doing well in the railway sector. Please come home. Government will be willing to have you. I'm not a member of any party. I'm not close to government. But I know that if I take responsibility for the outcome of my life, things will get better for me.
Oh, yes.
Now, so things will get better because the reason why we're where we are right now is because it's a developing nation. And when we get to a certain point, we can all agree. It's just that the time is taken.
Absolutely.
It's a long time.
And also private organizations like yours will also ensure that life is better for Nigerians.
Correct.
We shouldn't be saying because the prices are increasing daily, we keep on increasing house rents.
I agree.
For Nigerians.
Correct.
Because they also go to the same market.
Correct, sir.
Thank you so much for joining us on TVC Breakfast Saturday. Chairman, The Clinchers Homes Limited, Dr. Adeyemi Adeniyi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
In short, there's no rich man in the bathroom. Okay, that's holding that.
But it depends on the quality of what you're wearing. The quality of your slippers.
If you date too quality, you go fall down for bathroom. You know, say that bedroom slippers get grip for where. If it is too quality, you go fall.
All right, that's on the lighter note. We'll take a break at the moment. And when we come back from this break, it's time to talk entertainment. Do not go anywhere.